take 100 million tries or more. But if you keep going, one day you'll score. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Dreams and wishes are safer than reality. Real success requires that you be willing to try again. That's how you turn failure into a win. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Failure doesn't mean it's time to quit. Failure means you haven't mastered it. Whatever it is you're trying to do, don't let failure take it from you. Figure out where you went wrong. That's how you'll start growing strong. Study what happened and learn. This is how your success you'll learn. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust. Failure's just a learning opportunity. Lose the fear, set your dreams free. Step out and take the risk. You must go big or go home. Success or bust.
Living homeless in a place where I share all the space. I'm grateful for what I've got, but it challenges me a lot. Like finding a place to meet clients so I can get off the street. I've got no money in the bank, can't even put gas in the tank. Walking everywhere in the heat leaves me sweaty, not sweet. I'm striving to do better, it's true, but I don't always know what to do. I've got all this value inside me, but it's not always so easy to help other people see I'm a walking golden opportunity. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I don't want a handout, that's not what I'm about. I just need a hand up, a little love to fill my cup. I'm a writer, an artist, and a designer, copywriter, marketer, trainer, and planner. My list of skills runs miles long. You're wondering where I went wrong. I'm in a love-hate relationship with society. I love people, but I don't find it funny the way we value each other by our money. I wish more people could see and agree. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I'm not blaming anyone for my choices. Blaming anyone is pointless. I rejected the corporate plantations here, choosing my child's life over my career. I've made my fair share of mistakes. I'm no saint, for heaven's sake. I admit I've missed a lot of opportunities due to my fears and insecurities. But my current financial condition is at least in part due to my mission to put people over profits in life, accepting that this will cause me strife. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you get today can get things on their way. I've spent decades searching for truth, breaking free of lies I believed in my youth. I'm no longer eager to participate in a system designed to discriminate. I guess what I'm trying to communicate is that this doesn't have to be our fate. Our greatest investment is in one another. another, valuing each person as a sister or brother. Each person is a gold mine of opportunity. If you know how to find it, it's easy to see. We can end a system of monetary slavery. Working together, we can all be free. Ooh. Today's a new opportunity to change our current society. The help you give today can get things on their way. Let's create a human development investment group. Working together, we can begin to recoup the value of each member of society, so we can all achieve prosperity. Real estate brings profits, true, but there are limits to what it can do, and it leaves people homeless too. Real estate value can only grow when people have money to show. Infinite possibilities exist inside every human, though they hide. It takes a little effort to find, but once you do, it'll blow your mind. This is your opportunity to change our society. The help you give today can get things on their way. Tempted by your devil's kiss, promising unending bliss, drag me into enemy.
Okay, time to get started. It's on window capture, not where it's supposed to be. Let's get the webcam off. Not quite what I want to show you. And figure out why it's deciding not to show what it needs to show. Every week it's the same problem. I need to figure my stuff out better. Life sometimes is just not quite what I'd like it to be. Turn up my volume because somebody told me it's a little low, so I'm just gonna bump it up. And we'll see if that's better. Alright, now let's see if I can figure out why it's not deciding to show what I need it to show. There we go. Haha! Perfect. Alright. Sound check. Is everything good? Can I be heard clearly? Alright. I did have somebody complaining that they couldn't really hear me, so I don't know if it's on my end or their end, but it doesn't hurt to adjust it just a little. Not that I want to blow your eardrums out, but I do want to be heard clearly. Alright. We give people a little bit of a chance to trickle in. I'm going to read back through what we wrote last week, or last couple of weeks, and we will figure out where to go from here. Chapter 42, The Call to Meet. A phone call from Hawkeye interrupted Lauren's thinking as she reached for Earl's hand. I'm gonna need to take this. I'm sorry, she said. Hawkeye's not big on phone calls. If he's calling, it's urgent. She stood up from the table and walked just outside the door before picking up the phone. Hey, Hawk, what's wrong? Hawkeye gave her the details of the meeting and the method by which it arrived. You gonna be able to make it? It's important. She closed her eyes. Yeah, I'll make it. I don't like it. But if they're gonna show us the evidence for the case, I want to see it for myself. Want me to pick you up? We can head that way together, Hawkeye offered. Lauren didn't have a car. That'd be great. Call me when you're on your way. She stepped back inside once they hung up to find Earl waiting patiently. Sorry about that. Remember that job I mentioned? They're meeting with us in a couple of days. Earl nodded. That's good. Just remember, you don't have to say yes if you don't want to, but you should at least hear them out. She nodded and then gave him a wink. I agree, but that's 2 days from now. I'd much rather talk about us. Earl's face erupted in a smile. Oh, I'm all ears. Seymour hung up the phone. His stomach was in knots. He didn't have $5,000 to give Delilah. He could hop in the car and drive to where she was, but it was at least 2 hours away, and he was running short on cash and gas money. He took a deep breath. Seymour, you can't rescue her from everything. You know that, right? He coached himself. Except his heart did not, in fact, know that. But she needs me, was its reply. The phone rang again. He looked at it, hoping it would be Delilah and fearing that it was at the same time. It wasn't. It was Hawkeye. Hey, man, what's the latest, he asked. What's the deal with the military intelligence? We in or we out? Hawkeye filled him in on the meeting details and gave him an address in Chicago. It's quite the drive, Seymour said. Hawkeye agreed. It is, but they'll compensate us for the trip, Mike promised. That made the decision a little easier. I'll be there. He hung up the phone and apologized to the image of Delilah that haunted his mind. I'm sorry. This time, I just can't. But maybe, if this assignment goes through and I get the money and there's still time, then I can help you. Guilt flooded him. He was failing her, and he hated that. He wanted to be a knight in shining armor for her, but he couldn't. Maybe later, but right now he couldn't. His rational mind spoke. You know she wouldn't come to your rescue if you needed her, right? He sighed. Yes, I do know. I don't know what it is about her. I just can't seem to help myself around her. He'd never spent much time wondering why she had that effect on him. She reminded him in a lot of ways of a tiny kitten he'd found lost when he was a kid. The darn thing was so cute and so clearly in need of help he'd not been able to resist taking it home with him. Only to have that little thing bite him and give him rabies. 12 shots to the belly and a whole lot of tears later, you'd think he'd have learned his lesson. But no, he was a sucker for anything that seemed helpless and like it needed him. And Delilah was a whole lot of that. She was all that, in fact, along with a body to die for. You're just going to have to let her grow up, his rational mind said. You've got to stop rescuing her from the consequences of her own bad decisions. His eyes fell on a stack of past due notices piling up. Yeah, nobody's rescuing me, are they? When do I start taking care of myself and stop trying to take care of everyone else? He straightened himself up and made a decision. Today. Today was that day. The naval station Great Lakes sign over the bridge let Hawkeye know they were in the right place. The meeting was set for 0900 hours, and they were running right on time. Lauren sat in the passenger seat beside him, her hands clenched in her lap. She looked uncomfortable. You all right? He asked. She glanced his direction. Yeah, just haven't been on a military base since my dad died. I didn't know your dad was military, Hawkeye commented. It was funny how he'd known her for years, but details like that weren't something he'd picked up in all that time. I don't talk about it much. We didn't exactly see eye to eye, she mused. He was very much a man who thrived on rules, regulations, and strict protocol. I was chaos on two legs. I can see how that might not have worked out too well, Hawkeye acknowledged. Yeah, the last time I saw him, we both said a lot of ugly things. Things I wish I could take back, she shrugged as she looked out the window. But sometimes you don't get second chances. Hawkeye knew that was right. Heck of a thing, isn't it? She nodded. Nothing I can do about it, though. It's not like I can change the past. Hawkeye rolled up to the booth where a security guard stood. He rolled down the window and passed the guard their IDs and the badges he'd received. The man inspected them closely and waved them through after returning them. First building on your left, he instructed Hawkeye. Chapter 43. Trouble in Nashville. Delilah stared at the phone in her hands. A small trickle of guilt washed over her. I am sorry, Seymour. I know I shouldn't have lied to you like that. But I didn't think you'd send the money otherwise, and I do need it. She wondered if he would send it. Did he have that kind of money? Could he get it if he didn't have it? She was pretty sure he had money, given how fast he'd been able to pay for her car repair. But how much money? She didn't know. She waited patiently. The people at the hotel had agreed to let her stay for another few days without paying when she told them she'd lost her father, and the bank was waiting on documents for them to transfer her inheritance to her account. She was good at forgery. The bank documents she presented them looked so authentic she'd even impressed herself. She almost felt the documents should be framed. They were a true work of art. She didn't like lying to people, but sometimes, she reasoned, you had to do what was necessary to take care of yourself. And if people didn't have it in their heart to do the right thing by you, you had to help them do it by whatever means necessary. That was what her father taught her. She missed that old man and sometimes wondered where he was. He'd left when she was 12, just picked up in the middle of the night and vanished. Her mother told her he worked for the CIA. She didn't know if that was true or not, but she liked believing it. It was better than thinking he'd just abandoned her. She stood up and stretched. A knock at the door startled her. She wasn't expecting anyone. She hesitated. Should she answer it? She didn't like surprises like that. Seymour was too far from Nashville to have driven there so quickly. Something in her gut suggested she shouldn't answer. She looked for some place to hide and chose the closet. The shower seemed too obvious. "Hey there, Amaya! How are you doing today?" She just stepped inside it and closed the door behind her when the front door burst open. Two men dressed in black stepped inside and closed the door behind them, blocking her escape. "We know you're here, Delilah. There's no use hiding," an unfamiliar voice said. Delilah didn't move. She didn't make a sound. Her pulse raced like a Kentucky Derby champion. Beads of sweat began to form around her forehead. She hit the speed dial for Seymour, hoping whatever happened, he'd hear it and know what to do. She'd never been more terrified in her entire life. Nothing happened. The phone didn't ring. The men shut the curtains and entered the bathroom. "Where are you, Delilah? We're gonna find you. You could make this easier on yourself and come out. We just want to talk." She spotted a gun one of them was holding through a crack between the closet door and its frame. That didn't seem like an invitation to talk to her. Her lie to Seymour that they were going to kill her seemed like a prophecy now. She wanted to cry, but that would only attract attention she didn't want right now. She didn't know what to do. There was nowhere to go, and the room was too small for this search to take long. The larger of the two men flung open the closet door and grabbed her by the arm. "Look what we have here. Time to come out of that closet, Delilah. Daddy wants to talk to you." "What? What do you mean, Daddy wants to talk to me?" She stuttered, suddenly confused. "Who are you people?" "Don't talk, just walk. We're from the CIA," the shorter man explained, "and it's time for you to meet up with your father. He's the one who sent us to get you." Delilah frowned. "Daddy sent you? What's my daddy's real name?" Neither man answered. They just kept dragging her forward. When she started to resist, one of them tapped her side with his gun. "Give us trouble, and you'll be meeting your father on the other side of this life. Understood?" She had no doubt he meant it. She shut her mouth and stopped resisting. They hadn't shot her yet. That at least bought her some time to figure out a way to escape the situation. All right, so now we have plot points to wrap up. And that's what we're going to decide today. We're going to decide where we start. All right, whose plot points do we work on today? We've got Jacobs and Tolston. Do they survive the car wreck? We've got DeVries and what happens to him. We've got, and it doesn't really matter. If you aren't familiar with this, do not by any means think you have to hesitate. Just pick one. It doesn't really matter. The 4 streamers and the evidence. And the men kidnapping Delilah. So that's what we've got to choose between. We got 4 options. Let's see what we pick. Okay, we got 1 vote for DeVries. Or Jacobs, 1 vote for Jacobs and Tolston. You want to mark that, Mom? So I got a vote for DeVries. Got a vote for Jacobs and Tolston. See who else wants to chime in on this. Got 1 minute. Do 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 We have, in theory, 3 people voting, and I only see 2 votes up on, so I'm delaying a little bit to see if we can get a 3rd vote cast in there before I close the poll and we make moves forward. If, in the event that we do not get a 3rd vote, what I will do is combine both of those plot points. We will look at Jacobs and Tolston, and we will look at DeVries, and we will see where things converge. About 30 seconds, maybe. All right. 1,000. 1,000. Gonna be the count, right? Yeah. So while we're waiting, I bought a bird feeder today. Now, I bought bird seed a while back when I first moved here, but we couldn't find a good bird feeder, one that would deal with the seed that we got. So today we found the right bird feeder, and now I'm looking at my windows and realizing that the side with the screen is the worst place to stick the bird feeder because it's one that attaches via suction cup. Oh, we have our votes. We have 3. DeVries and what happens to him is where we begin. All right, awesome blossom. Now, just to remind us of where DeVries left off. He was escaping from the burning car. And, yeah. Treason. No, that was where he was treasonous. Now, we have a lot of ground. Yeah, I think this is unexpected meeting. Ah, yes. Chapter 41 is the last place we found DeVries. That's where the car crash was happening. dump truck plowed into the car carrying both Jacobs, Tolston, and DeVries. Tolston and Jacobs seem to have succumbed to the vehicle. DeVries is the only one to have made it out, as far as we know. So now we're going to pick up to where DeVries left off. And if we have time, we'll get back to Tolston and Jacobs, because I do kind of like that idea. But the crowd has spoken. The determination has been made. It's time to jump back into the story. Chapter 44. DeVries on the run. And indeed he is. Let's see where the last line of that story, that particular chapter, so we know where he was. Let's see. DeVries watched as the engine caught fire as he drug himself away from the vehicle. Jacobs was slumped over the steering wheel. The airbag intended to save his life seemed to have knocked him out. He didn't slow down, didn't even consider going back to help either Jacobs or Tolston. All he cared about was saving his own skin. And the faster he could get out of there, the more sure he would be of doing just that. Now, we have to make a decision on what it is that we think that DeVries is going to do. So, if you have ideas for what's going to happen to DeVries, let's hear them. Pop them in the chat, pour them out. Doesn't matter. We'll take all suggestions and we'll find a way to make them work together. Badly wounded was he? Let's look at that. His head rang like a bell and his vision blurred, so he might have a concussion. He's got blood dripping down his leg because he did manage to got several cuts in his calf, and there's pain in the calf. DeVries gets a conscience. The car's ignited already. I don't know if him developing a conscience fits in with his character. He's pretty consistently shown himself to be somebody who's incredibly self-centered and incredibly shallow. Him developing a conscience, we have to give him a real motivation for that. There has to be something going on that matches what we've seen. Otherwise, we lose character consistency. Mm. But he didn't have a chance to grab anything. So I don't know what could have been in the car. You know, he didn't have the time. He was not voluntarily in the car. He had been forced into it by Jacobs. So we got to make sure that the story stays consistent. One of the men, Jacobs. Jacobs would be the only man in the car. There was Jacobs, there was Tolson, who's a woman, and then there's DeVries. There we found a good reason for him to go back to the car that still fits his character. He's not thinking about helping Jacobs and Tolston, because that doesn't fit his character. But he is thinking about a cell phone that Jacobs might have that could help him get out of the sticky situation he's in. I'm not arguing that those things aren't possible, but we haven't seen any indication of DeVries having a conscience. Every choice available to him, he has made to be selfish and self-centered. And so, for character consistency, you need to either gradually introduce the conscience and show them making progress in that direction so that it feels natural, or you need to stay consistent with who they are. See, Tom Cruise only changed who he was when he lost his best friend because of a stupid, arrogant thing he did. So it was the consequence of loss that caused the change of heart in Tom Cruise's character. So it's understandable when he makes that change and does the different thing, we have a clear indication of why, a clear understanding of why the change happened. Now, I haven't seen The Ultimate Gift, so I don't know what that's about, and I can't make an assessment of how well it was done. But when you're writing, character consistency is important, because in order to maintain the suspension of belief that's required for a reader to enter your world, you can't, things have to make rational, logical sense within the world that you've constructed. If you built a character who consistently makes choices for bad, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, they turn back and do good, the reader's going to go, huh? That makes no sense. So you either have to gradually point them in the direction of good, so that when they finally find the courage to choose it, it feels consistent and logical. Or you have to keep them going down the path they're going. Now, it could be that this instant is what DeVries needs to finally develop a conscience by the end of the story. Like maybe the realization that without other people in life, he's hosed is going to be enough to shake loose the conscience that he's consistently buried throughout his life. We have to find out. But we can't do it all at once. It has to be some kind of logical chain of progression. He's never worried until now about being considered a coward. Most people have. He's consistently chosen himself over everybody else. That doesn't change overnight. That's what I'm saying. And I know that we can cause a change. Like this whole thing. Let's find out, though, if it's even reasonable, because the car was already on fire. Hey, Malachi! Good to see you. And oh, yeah. An engine fire usually transitions from a small localized ignition to a fully engulfed engine compartment within 1 to 3 minutes. So, is this even reasonable? Probably not. It's probably not that he is going to be able to get back there in time before the fire causes the whole engine to ignite. Oh, it almost never explodes. Okay. It behaves as a fast-spreading blaze. The fuel tanks are built with pressure release valves and are shielded. They burn rather than blow up. The loudest pops you might hear are usually exploding tires, struts, or plastic components. Flames can breach the dashboard and enter the passenger cabin via air within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. He was partially up the embankment. Well, that is true. I mean, we can change the wording to be just a car wreck without signs yet of a fire, but that requires editing everybody else's work. And this is a collaborative work, so that's kind of not necessarily a cool thing to do. Okay, so 1 to 5 minutes for it to turn into a real engine fire, and then another 5 to 10 before it engulfs the whole vehicle, enters the passenger cabin. I know, I appreciate that. I appreciate the contribution. You've actually shaped the story. DeVries is turning back to the vehicle and still might be the hero of the plan. It's just a matter of, is it realistic to have him getting there? Because that's something else we have to do, is we have to check our facts. We have to make sure that we're not presenting something that isn't logically possible. Because again, that's about the suspension of belief. We reason that it takes about 5 minutes. You can probably, under good conditions. All right. So it's, let's look at the time factor. Okay, so, because that's going to be a major part of how we calculate this. All right. Five to 10 minutes to cabin spread. And 1 to 3 minutes from engine compartment fire. Now, he got out before the fire started. Yeah, Jacobs forced him into the car, so yes, the cell phone is a good reason for him to go back. That's why I picked it. It's a logical, legitimate reason for him to turn back. Let's see. Now, walking, a healthy individual could get, let's see, we walk about 15 minutes a mile when you're healthy, right? And that means we're walking, let's see, 1 mile. About, I don't want, yeah, 1.7 pace calculator. Isn't that funny? So we're looking at miles. 1 mile. It's about 3 minutes, 25 seconds. That's crazy. So that means we're walking about is it? 15? No, not 15 seconds. See if this calculator will work right for me. Okay, 15 minutes per mile. That means we're walking that's useless. Doesn't really help me. Yeah, he's limping pretty badly. So we're going to say that it takes him 45 minutes. It adds extra time to get to a mile. And he hasn't had that yet. He's probably less than 45 over 60, 2/3. Probably about 3 feet from the vehicle. We're on an incline, which is going to take extra difficulty. Maybe he's gotten 10 feet maximum from the vehicle. Or maybe I'm originally. Let's look at that. A lot of math involved in calculating that. Oh, I guess let's look up how many feet are in a mile. 5280. 15 divided by 5280. Okay, so that's his rate of movement, 0.003 times, let's see, he's had 5 minutes, 0.15 times 5280, 79. 79 feet by 12. Yeah, so 6 feet. He's 6 feet from the vehicle and change when he decides to turn around. And Could he actually be a hero? Maybe. I mean, it's possible, but he's not operating for heroic reasons. He's still operating on the self. You can do a heroic thing for the wrong reasons and not really be a hero. Catechism says that. All right. Oh, I'm not speaking at the moment, so you're not hearing anything because I'm not saying anything. I need to put together a kind of a music to turn on when I'm just writing. This is true. This is true. No, 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 not at all. Well, understand that DeVries and Tolston don't exactly have a loving relationship. Tolston has been a total jerk to DeVries and her entire team for over 5 years, and DeVries often took the brunt of that. So for him, rescuing Tolston, not exactly a priority. That wouldn't make logical sense. Hmm. You're a person who's absolutely desperate for the cell phone, but terrified of the flames. What do you do? right. That is a logical progression. See? DeVries is selfish, selfish, selfish. He comes back to the vehicle out of selfishness. But it's Jacob's statement to him, even you can't just leave her there, that calls him to become the kind of man that he wanted to be already, but didn't think he could be. Everyone, let's see. So let's read back over the chapter before we go. See what we've created here. DeVries struggled to make it up the embankment into the highway. He didn't know whether to flag down help or take his chances on his own. Blood poured down his leg from the cuts he received when he kicked out the window, and his head still felt woozy. The adrenaline from his flight still surged through his veins. Smoke rose on the horizon from where the car's engine caught fire. All he wanted was to get away from that car. Something tugged at the corner of his mind. Something pointed him back in its direction. He just wasn't sure what. He thought through his options. In his current condition, he wasn't sure how far he could get on his own. He needed to call for help. He needed support. But he had no cell phone. If Jacobs had one... He glanced back at the car. Their easy for me to say apparently. Center compartment is where the cell phone was. You know that open little thing where you usually put drinks and stuff? That's where it was. He glanced back at the car. It hadn't combusted yet. Maybe there was still time to grab Jacob's cell phone. It was a risk, but it was worth it. It might be his only hope of making it. The idea of dying wasn't one DeVries entertained often. Now it seemed an inevitability unless he managed to get the help he needed. And he wasn't ready to die. He limped back to the car as fast as he could, ignoring the pain in his head and his leg to focus on survival. The 6 feet he'd managed to get from the vehicle felt like a lifetime to cross. But rather than focus on the difficulty, he focused on the mission. One step at a time, DeVries, one step at a time. He ignored the flames, ignored the fear, ignored everything except the one thing that mattered, finding Jacob's cell phone. He managed to reach the driver's side door just in time for the flames to start pushing into the cabin. The handle of the door was hot. He took off his shirt and wrapped it around the door handle, yanking it open as smoke billowed out of the cabin. Jacobs coughed and sputtered, grabbing hold of DeVries. "Toast it! We have to get her out of there." DeVries yanked his hand back, or tried to, but Jacob's grip was hard to dislodge. "We don't have time for that," he told Jacobs. "We've got to get away from this vehicle. Where's your cell phone?" "Help me get her out of there," Jacobs insisted, stepping out of the vehicle long enough to turn his attention to the passenger side. "She's probably not even alive. Look at her." DeVries gestured toward her. She was still slumped over, not moving. Jacobs ignored him and moved toward the smashed glass of the window. DeVries grew impatient. "Where's your cell phone? We need help." Jacobs didn't take his eyes off Tolston. "In the center compartment." DeVries smiled. All he needed was that cell phone, and he could leave these two fools to themselves. But the flames were licking that inside compartment hungrily. He couldn't get in there. Couldn't get to it. He felt like screaming in frustration. So close to what he needed. Jacob's voice penetrated his thoughts. "Help me get the car open, DeVries. Come on, man, it's a 2-person job." DeVries couldn't bear to let go of the cell phone. He needed it. Needed the help it represented. He could see it if he could just reach it. Jacob's grip on his shoulder distracted him. "Come on, even you can't just leave her there." In an odd way, that statement caught DeVries' attention. This man believed in him. Nobody'd ever believed in him. Everyone assumed the worst of DeVries. Even DeVries! An image of himself as a hero rose to the surface. That wasn't an image he'd held since he was a kid. Back on the playground when he wanted to stand up for other kids and do something. But he'd been too scared to do it then. Too alone, too weak, and too powerless. DeVries heard in those words a call to become something he'd forgotten he wanted to become. A hero. He joined his strength with Jacob's, tugging at the car and helping to pull Tolston out with him. The three emerged just in time for the flames to reach the back seat and completely engulf the rest of the vehicle. Tolston was heavy, still passed out. He wasn't even sure she was breathing, but it felt good to know that he'd done something heroic, something worthy of a comic book novel. Because the passenger side isn't that far from the, because the back passenger side isn't, okay, so if you can imagine the front door of the vehicle isn't that far from the back door. So, it's not that far a place. But at any rate, that has turned the tide. Jacobs, Tolston, and DeVries are now out of the vehicle. We know that Jacobs is still alive, even if he's hurt, even if he's bandaged. Tolston may or may not be, we're not sure. And yeah, so that's where we're going to leave it for today. And thank you for joining, and we'll see you next week.